Games suck now. You know it. I know it. Your aging GameCube with Battalion Wars knows it. And your bedridden grandma who has to watch her grandchild do Fortnite dances knows it. There used to be a time when games were complete on release. Even shitty games like E.T. were at least finished. And now they're in the dump. Remember when you could go to your local Blockbuster, pick out a game, put it in the system, and just play? I think I do, but my memory has been fading like my Xbox hard drive after installing Red Dead 2. Games suck now. And here's why. I hope you guys are listening and taking notes because I've got a lot of shit to get off my chest. Imagine that you are walking down a street and then all of a sudden you start to get really hungry. So you look up and then you see a sandwich shop. Now this sandwich shop, you've always known it to be dependable on giving you complete sandwiches whenever you pay the complete price of said sandwiches. So you walk into this sandwich shop and you're like, hey guy, I would like a sandwich. And then he responds with, what kind of sandwich? And then you're like, the turkey deluxe sandwich, please. And he's like, sure thing, pal. And he goes in the back, and then he comes back with the sandwich and he gives it to you. And then you notice it's a little lighter than usual. So you open the sandwich and you realize that he's just giving you bread. And you're like, hey buddy, you forgot to put the stuff in my sandwich. This is just bread. And he's like, yep. So you're standing there confused and you're just like, well, where's the rest of my sandwich, man? And he's like, oh, the rest of your sandwich? And you're like, yeah, you only gave me the bread. I ordered a turkey deluxe sandwich. He's like, oh yeah, that's gonna have to cost you an extra $20.
What?
That is the state of the gaming industry that we are in now, people. These game companies are only giving us shells of games that we were promised when we paid the full $60. These game companies are only giving us bread when we order turkey sandwiches, when we pay the full $60. Does this not seem like a scam to you? Now look, bread is nice and all, but when I order a turkey sandwich, I expect to have my turkey sandwich. You know, back in the day when people were playing the brand new GameCube,
latest invention, GameCube.
This is awesome. This is video game heaven.
we didn't have to worry about whether or not we were getting the complete game. Our main worry was, what kind of game am I getting?
What have you played so far?
I've played Super Smash Brothers. So
How is it?
It's pretty good. It's very good.
Because no matter what, you would always get the complete game when you paid the complete price. There was no, hey, pay an extra $10 to do this level. Hey, pay an extra $5 to get this cool hat that we could have added in the game for free. Hey, fuck you. None of that existed. The only games that can get away with having DLC are the free-to-play games like Fortnite. Fortnite is like a Sunday church. It's a really shitty Sunday church,
I had a fucking jump pad that I could have used, man. Those kids were so fucking bad, dude. I'm so fucking dumb, dude. I'm done with this game, man. It's so fucking bad, dude. It's so bad, man. Are you kidding me? I couldn't build because of this stupid fucking crate, dude. The metal crate. Are you kidding me, dude? Fucking Epic Games has no idea what they're fucking doing, dude. I'm gonna fucking fly out there to the headquarters and show them how to fucking build, okay? Why can't metal break metal? Like, what? Is IRL? It's a fucking video game, okay? I should be able to fucking build.
But hey, it's a Sunday church, and their DLC is like that little donation basket that gets passed around. The whole experience is completely free, so you don't feel bad when you throw a few bucks the church's way. Even if you don't pay, the church still feeds you refreshments like wine and those tiny little plastic tasting cracker things that they give you. The same way that Fortnite constantly updates the game and adds content completely free of charge for everyone who has it downloaded. This is how DLC should be. Nobody ever feels bad donating money to the church. But you can be damn well sure that if I pay full price for my sandwich and you only give me bread and tell me that you're withholding the rest of the sandwich for an extra $20, I might get a little hangry. Now I know what you're thinking. Why are patches that fix the game bad? Well, I'll tell you why. But first, look at these games. Now, look at these games. Do you notice a difference? These games were pre-patches, and these games are not. Why is that important? Back then, before companies could patch their games, they had to make sure their shit was the best it could be. That means having no bugs. Know why? Because if their game was broken on release, there was no way to fix it and their company would go bankrupt. There used to be heavy consequences when making games back then. Your GameCube game was buggy? Well, tough shit. You spent millions mass producing it around the world, and now no one is buying it because it's broken and you can't fix it. The game industry was fucking hardcore.
Welcome to
the game industry.
How tough are you?
How tough am I? How tough am I?
I made a video game for people to play.
Yes, so?
In 2003.
Right this way. Sorry to keep you waiting.
Now with patches though, the developers are getting lazy. Oh shit, our game is broken? Release it anyways and patch it later. If anyone complains, just throw in-game currency at them so they can buy content we cut out of our game. Make it look like we give a shit, even though we don't. I swear, man, ever since patches came to be, the quality of every game dropped with a few exceptions. The only consequence is bad publicity, which isn't even a consequence since we still buy their next shitty game expecting some kind of improvement. Patches are just crutches that companies use to shove as much unfinished $60 games down our throats as possible. Remember when the limit to how many games you could play on your system was only limited to how many games you could fit in your room? Not only that, but every game you played would just start instantly as soon as the disc went into the system. You'd be able to open a brand new copy of Shrek Super Slam for Christmas and be able to play it within 1 minute tops.
Get ready!
Well, those days are over. Welcome to 2019, where if you buy a disc, you now have to wait an extra 2.5 hours to play. Not only that, but the game requires up to 50 gigabytes of memory to run. Oh, what's that? You ran out of memory downloading Red Dead Redemption 2? Don't worry, you can spend an extra $200 to buy memory for your game system, which can hold up to a whole 10 more games. Wow! But Josh, why did they change how we used to do things? Why, that's a great question, Kyle. That's because game discs no longer contain the actual game. They are now $60 keys to download the digital game. But why? Doesn't that take up way more memory than if the game was on the disc? That's right, Kyle. And you're not going to believe why this is. The reason we do this is because it's easier for the developers to patch their unfinished, broken games. You heard me right. The reason playing games is so inconvenient now is because of these damn patches. They stripped away the convenience of the consumer for their own convenience to fix and release broken games. Now that you've listened to all 3 of my chapters on why I think games suck now, picture this. Imagine paying $60 for an access key.
Mass Effect just released.
Oh yeah, you got the fucking game, man! Holy shit! How do you feel?
Great!
Then waiting 2.5 hours for the game to download. Then, when you start playing, you realize 40% of the game is locked behind $100 of DLC that was previously included. Not only that, but the 60% that you can play is unplayable due to the bugs. So you wait 6 months for the game to get patched up, and by then, the game is already in the bargain bin at Walmart. You log on to play, but no one else is online, because they're all either playing the new DLC or have moved on to the next game. That's the state we're in right now, guys. Games used to be passion projects where we were promised full games for their full retail prices. But now, we're given 60% of a shell of a game for the same full retail price. We're in a dark place right now, guys, and it's hard to say if things will ever get better. If you want to fight back, if you want games built to higher standards, there's only one thing we can do. We must vote with our wallets. These companies only care about our money now. That's been obvious for a few years. The only way to get these companies to respect us is to stop pre-ordering. Stop buying games that are in a broken state. You wouldn't pay full price for a broken car that has missing parts, so why buy a game with the same problems? Luckily, some of us are starting to wake up. Battlefield 5 is a testament to that. So please, please, save your money for products that you know for sure are worth your $60. If we don't keep this momentum after Battlefield 5 and Fallout 76, games will only continue to get worse. Games will continue to suck.